Ghislain. Today we're going to be talking about your ancestors and how they're either supporting you to fulfill your purpose or how they might be sabotaging you. I want you to understand that there were 80,000 people that needed to be born before you were able to walk this earth. Just let that sink in. And beings who had their own life experience, who experienced their own trauma, had their own memories, all walked this earth before you were born. Now, in quantum physics, we understand that past, present, future are all happening at the same time. Your body is an energetic map of your life, your past experiences, your past lives, and also your ancestors' past lives. Yes, all of them. And this is really one of those silent things that I see holding a lot of women back from being able to lead unapologetically, from being able to speak from a place of confidence, empowerment, and not giving a fuck about what anybody else thinks about them, especially if your ancestral lineage comes from a line in which women have been suppressed. So any clients that I have that have an Asian heritage, when we go back into their bodies and we access their ancestors' past lives, a lot of them are being held back because throughout their lineage, women have been conditioned to be quiet, be in the corner, and serve. And so within their body, because past, present, future are all happening at once, there are these energetic records which present as stagnation and trauma that are stopping them from being able to speak, from being able to lead, and from being able to say what they really want to fucking say, because there is this imprint of that is not safe for me. I will be killed if I do that, holding them back. And so because past, present, future are all happening at the same time, and we understand that your body has very little matter, so solidness to it, and is actually 99.99% of open space, aka energy, any of those ancestral imprints in which your ancestors were killed, punished for speaking up, had experiences which created a trauma imprint. Now we understand that the trauma is any event or experience in which the body adapted. And so that just means that the body changed, and it keeps a record of that event or experience stored in the cellular, the energetic, and the physical memory of your body. And then because your body is this amazing ecosystem of its own intelligence, it has access to all of these records. And because your body is keeping you safe and picking up on way more data than your conscious mind, these imprints from your ancestral lineage, your body perceives any event that happens in your present current reality that might have caused your ancestors harm in the past to be something that is dangerous. And so the stress response becomes activated. This is where women will not speak up and not really understand why. Their throat will close over. And so many times when I've been working with clients or leading women into their body to access these imprints that are holding them back, we find these ancestral imprints from all the way down the line that are actually the thing that's holding them back in their current reality. And so when you go into the energetic and the physical memory of your body, you're able to access those imprints, release them, and completely free them from your field. And something that we really have to get our minds around when we are accessing more of our infinite potential is moving past the limitations of your current reality. To really understand that you are an energetic being having a human experience, and so much more of who you actually are exists in the energetic realm, not so much in this physical manifestation that is your body, that is the sacred vessel that is holding part, not even all, just part of the energetic frequency that is your soul. And so if you're a woman who's finding that she knows that she's here to really lead, to really speak clearly, but you might walk into rooms in which you perceive judgment, or you have a fear of sharing your gifts, of really stepping forward as the leader in your field. These can be signs that there are ancestral imprints that are actually holding you back. And so in these moments where the body tightens, where the throat closes over, where maybe the heartbeat starts to race and it's more than just nerves, that's your invitation to actually get a little bit curious about, hold on, is this mine? Or is this actually something that I've inherited from my ancestral lineage? Now, because we also understand past, present, future, all happening at the same time in the energetic realms, when you go into your body and you access this energetic memory and record, not only do you free it from your reality right now, you also free that imprint from all of your ancestors and all of the different timelines that the impact of that experience from one of your ancestors is playing out in. Now, I know that's a lot to digest, and you might be like, what the fuck is she on about? We're not going to go into timelines today. I just want you to understand that whatever you do in your current reality is impacting both your past and your future. And this is where working with the world of the energetic is completely transformative. And there is no such thing as an irrational response to something. Every response that your body has, there is an activation of that. Let me give you an example of what that looks like for me. I was in Indonesia a couple of years ago, and I was at an ecstatic dance, and now they started playing indigenous music. And all of a sudden, I felt my neck like somebody was strangling me. There was this huge pressure around my neck and I was struggling to breathe. And I was like, okay, that's data, right? I need to go and investigate what this is. And so instead of ignoring it, I went to the side of the dance circle to a place where I could lay down, go into my throat, connect with that, where that memory was stored or that imprint was stored in my body. And straight away, I accessed a record of my ancestors being held in chains and taken captive. And now I was able to go through and allow them to express and experience the confusion, the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty. But ultimately, I was able to break them free of that experience and return them back into their land, back into where they were actually meant to be, not where they were imprisoned and being taken from. And in that very moment, I freed a whole collection of my ancestral lineage. And then, because I freed that ancestral lineage, I was able to gain access to the wisdom and the power that those ancestors had to share with me. Now, that experience happened at a really, really important time. And from that, a new spiritual gift opened up. And so when we're working with our ancestors, these imprints will come through for you to break free of them, and then also be able to access the wisdom that comes with and from them. Something also that is like the caveat in all of this is just because you get to access these ancestral imprints and you get to free your ancestors and then AKA free yourself, not all of your ancestors are ready for you to work with. And that's because not all of them are healed and rested. And if a being is not fully healed and rested and hasn't integrated the experience of their life, their frequency is not at the highest service to support you in your current life. And so something that I always do when I'm working with clients to really start to harness their ancestral wisdom, their ancestral power, and understand how they're ready to work with their ancestors is to actually sit in ceremony and invite both the masculine line ancestors and the feminine line ancestors that need to be healed and rested to step forward. And then we create a ceremony to allow them to receive the healing, the integration, the work that they need to, so that they can integrate anything from their life experience that they wasn't able to integrate when they incarnated. You incarnated in a very specific ancestral line, both your feminine and your masculine. And your ancestors have wisdom for you to share. Now, when I'm recording this post, we're very close to Halloween, so Samhain, in ancient pagan tradition. And this is actually a time, and most people don't realize this, is where you worship your ancestors. Now, I definitely am not going out on Halloween because the veil is thin and there's all types of energies floating around, right? But what I do is sit in ceremony with my ancestors and give thanks for them and ask, what wisdom am I now ready to receive from them? What messages do I have? And this year, I managed to meet some more new ancestors from my dad's line, so from my masculine line, that I have not interacted with before. Now, we don't really know my dad's ancestral lineage. He was adopted. And so through this work, I've been able to connect with a whole new lineage who are here to support me in a very unique way at this very moment with where I am, both personally and professionally. And so I would invite you to start to really understand your lineage, your ancestral lineage, to reflect on what wisdom, what gifts have my ancestors got to share with me? And to start to open yourself up to be guided by your ancestral wisdom. Because there was a time where there was amazing ancestral knowledge and wisdom that was passed down through generation to generation to generation. But because we now live in this modern society, we've lost a lot of that ancestral connection. And so if you're a woman who's here to lead, your ancestors are literally here to guide you to fulfill your purpose. And they want to connect with you. So carve out some time to sit in ceremony with your ancestors to learn their unique wisdom, how they're here to support you to fulfill the purpose that you are here to complete. Now I'm in the process of moving to the UK, and people are saying to me all the time, why are you moving to the UK? Why would you choose that area? Now, my mum's side of the family are British. My grandpa are really blue blood British all the way. My granny, now she has roots from England, Ireland, Scotland. She's a little bit more of a mix. But my grandpa, his entire family line are English. And so for me, there is this pull to go and live for a certain period of time on the lands in which my ancestors came from. And I believe that this is a really important part of people reconnecting back to who they are, reconnecting back to the lineages that they come from, and from being able to share the wisdom that their ancestor carried to help them lead from a place of alignment, power, and purpose in this life. And so I invite you this week to get really curious about your ancestors and how they're ready to guide you. And if you're someone who's really ready to maybe understand where those ancestral imprints are in your body or how to work with them, this is the kind of work we do in the Consciousness Collective. This is a masterclass for women who are really ready to start to master the realms of consciousness, energetics, and embodiment. Throughout this, we sit in all different types of ceremonies where we go through, we connect to your ancestral lineage. I teach you how to work with them, how to heal and protect the ones that aren't ready to work with you yet, and then how to work with the ones that are, and then how to access their wisdom for you to lead and create the business that you are born to create. So if you're a woman who's really ready to master the energetics of the success, doors are now open for that. Apply in the show notes. And if not, I will see you next week, but just start connecting with your ancestors. And if you have those moments, or you know that you're from an ancestral lineage in which women have constantly had their sexuality suppressed, had their voices suppressed, and you feel like you have a lot to say, but you're not really saying it. You're letting your fear of judgment hold you back. You're too scared to really own more of your power. These are all signs that there are those ancestral imprints that are holding you back. Apply to work with me one-to-one, because I've got a very few limited spaces for women who are really ready to do that deep ancestral work. That's all I have for you. I'll be back next week. See you then.